So Stewart stay or should he go? It's always tease, tease, tease. Stay for one more season, please. So come on and let us know. Will you stay or will you go? Will you stay or will you go now? Go on, that's enough of that shite. Get rid of that. Oh, terrible, that terrible singing. Right, so yes, there was a meeting last night. KLD, Davy Jones and numerous gadgets were there to talk about Sunderland. And they were talking to a lot of experienced, intelligent Sunderland fans. Lots of good questions asked to do with certain things. And one of the topics that came up was the Ross Stewart situation. The Ross Stewart situation. Will he stay or will he go? Will he stay at the end of the season? Will he stay in the January transfer window or will he be picked off by another club? Interesting. Let's go into what was said last night, what questions were asked and what replies happened. I don't know how long this video will take. I haven't even read this. I have no idea what was said last night. To get my response as it happens, I have no clue. I know there's some videos online already been up and loaded to do with this, but I have no clue what happened. So, let's get into it without further ado, as they say on TV. When Kyril Louis-Dreyfus met Sunderland supporters, Premier League ambitions, January plans, Wan Sartori and Ross Stewart's contract was on the agenda. Right, Kyril Louis-Dreyfus made one of his first public appearances at a Sunderland as Sunderland chairman on Monday night, as he attended the Q&A with members of the Red and White Army supporters group at Pop Rex. Right, Louis-Dreyfus appeared on the panel alongside Chief Operating Officer Steve Davison, I have no clue what he looks like, and non-executive director Davy Jones from Sky Sports. The quartet, Christian Speakman was there, of course, the quartet. Christian Speakman was also their sporting director. The quartet took questions from those present and discussed Louis-Dreyfus's time at the club so far and looked ahead to key issues on the horizon. Right, Kyril on the club's progress. Louis-Dreyfus began the reflecting on the club's journey under his tenure so far and his relief that they have finally been able to deliver what was on so many supporters the first win at Wembley for seasons and seasons and seasons. He also noted the progress made from the first two games he watched in person, as a 2-2 draw with Gillingham and the 2-1 defeat to Shrewsbury. There we go. So he's reflecting on his time at Sunderland. He stressed there was a lot of work ahead. We've done a lot of work in the last 18 months to get the club back to the Championship. But now we've got to make sure we stay in the Championship, Kyril. There's no point getting dropped down at the first attempt of asking, staying in the Championship. Right, I still see a huge amount of work to be done before I consider it being ready for the Premier League. The people on this stage are working 24/7 to get us to the point, of course, we want to get there soon as we can, but I believe there is a reason why the club fell out of the Premier League, and there's a reason why we spent so long in League One. Good point. Only a lot of hard work and consistency, making good decisions, will get us back. Every staff member we recruited on and off the pitch and has come here to achieve that. Many of them were working at clubs higher up the pyramid right now, but they have the belief that we can get back into the Premier League, and that's what we want to be part of. Louis-Dreyfus was asked whether Sunderland would be able to compete. Hypothetically, they were to win promotion this season. You can never ever say no to promotion because it's so hard to do so. I would be over the moon. To be honest, in the 18 months since I came in, we've been chasing to get us up to speed because there is so much to do to rebuild. It feels we've been building from the very base upwards. We want to build our infrastructure so that we are promoted, we're ready to compete and stay there. It would be challenging, but I will be over the moon. Christian Speakman added that when looking at the season, 2/3 of the squad had no Championship experience and so a period of adjustment was required, particularly with the desire to play attacking style football, so consolidating mid-table with a view to pushing upwards rather than specific position with a goal initially. He added that he felt the squad could perform at a top 10 level in what in the division was a very fine margins and where variables can make a big difference, injuries and suspension, he mentioned. So there we go. I think the squad we have at this moment in time is a top 10 squad. Do you think that is a top 10 squad? Do we have a top 10 squad right now if all injuries were brought back and they were all fitting well? It's a good point. It's a good point. It is. We do have a good, strong squad, but we are lacking in certain areas. Kyril on the January strategy. I'll give up. Speakman told supporters that planning for January, and please I'm not saying that word strategy again, was now stepping up considerably. One supporter asked, okay, I was going to sing a song there, I'm not going to. One supporter asked whether the view still stood that Sunderland had adequate options across the forward line, to which Speakman said all areas of the squad will be under review and fresh assessment made. Louis-Dreyfus said the club would look to strengthen in the window. We wanted to build the value of the squad from when I arrived. It's higher now than it was 6 months ago. It was higher then than it was 6 months before that, and hopefully it will be higher in 6 months' time. We're still in a phase where we have to invest and develop the squad before we get to the point where we just reinvest funds. That we're generating. Okay, I get the point now. So basically said they want to, get to the point where the squad, is strong enough and they can develop the squad without having to reinvest the funds. But they want to generate the funds, obviously, they want to generate the funds by spending and selling some of these good players. Is that what he's on about? So, for example, if you're able to sell £20 million worth of talent in the summer, as some clubs did, then there will be 20 million to reinvest. We're not there yet. So if we sell Ross Stewart for 15 million, all of that 15 million, KLD says is going back into the club. That's what he's coming across at. That's what I take it as anyway. We're not there yet. We're still in growth phase and we'll be looking to strengthen in the January and then again in the summer. Next summer, I expect we'll still be trying to grow. Right, so there we go. They want to gradually get the youngsters in, build them up so they're worth some money, then eventually sell them and then reinvest the money again. That is what they're trying to do. We'll see. We'll keep them to that word. We'll keep them to that word. Stephen Davison on the away fans. The club's chief operating officer confirmed that Sunderland will consider moving supporters away back to the lower bowl long term. Yeah, interesting. The club's chief operating officer confirmed that Sunderland will consider moving away supporters back to the lower bowl in long term. This is actually a requirement for the Premier League clubs, and Davison believes it will additionally ease safety issues and could also be beneficial to the atmosphere in games. Is it a requirement? Does Newcastle not have theirs up there? Am I stupid? Do Newcastle have theirs up the upper tier? So is it a requirement? Why is theirs up there in the top 3 in the Premier League? I may be just completely out of the ballpark. Getting the configuration of the ground right and preparing it for the next phase as it reaches 25 years since it was opening, Davison said, one of his current priorities. He stressed that all decisions will be made only after extensive dialogue with fans. So that means there's no netting. There's no netting going up. So let's go for the worst case scenario. Somebody in the next game, Sunderland is smashing the team 3-0. The away fans go mental. Some idiots throw stuff off. They're going to just see it out and ride it out until they get to the Premier League, or next season, and have to move the fans back down. So they're kind of jeopardising people's health, a little bit of risk there. I know I'm going at the other end of the spectrum, but to be fair, they should really have netting up, no matter what cost. You could sell a player in January and put a little bit of that money. Let's say, for instance, You know, we do sell Ross Stewart for 20 million in January. It's a pie in the sky, 10 million, whatever he's worth. I don't know what he's worth. 40,000 could go to a new bit of netting. End of the day, the safety's welfare of the fans is paramount, is most important. And somebody mentioned that some Sunderland fans were throwing objects at players. That is completely wrong. That is completely wrong. That should not be allowed to happen. That should be nipped in the bud straight away. And anybody found throwing stuff onto the pitch should be banned from the ground. That is my opinion. My opinion. There's no need for violence like that in a football ground. We are slating fans for chucking things down to the fans from upper height, which is going to hurt. But at the same time, somebody throws something on the pitch could catch somebody in the eye, you see him, and it could damage their health just the same. It's not on. It's not on at all, right? That's my opinion. Nobody should throw anything on the ground whatsoever onto the pitch or at other fans. Right, Christian Speakman and Kyril Louis-Dreyfus on Ross Stewart and his future. The panel were asked about Ross Stewart, both for an update and contract negotiations to whether or not they would cut guarantees he would leave the club in January or would not leave the club in January. Let's face it, right? Ross Stewart, is my opinion, Ross Stewart. Ross Stewart, you know, he knows now. Ross Stewart must know now already in his mind what he wants to do with his future. Now, whether he's waiting for a big offer to come in. Now, will a club offer while he's injured? Probably no. So I don't think it would make total sense. If you sell Ross Stewart in January, you will get more money, I would have thought, because people panic buy in January. But at the same time, will the value be dropped down because he's not fit and he's injured, been injured for a while? So why not Ross Stewart get himself fit, stay at Sunderland to the end of the season, sign a new contract, you know, sign a contract for maybe 2 or 3 years, whatever it's going to be, sign a new contract to Sunderland, show everybody in the world what you can do at the end of the season. Then at the end of the season, if you did want to go and you get an offer from a Premier League club, I'd have no, you know, I'd want you to stay, but at the same time, I'd understand. And at the same time, the club gets money for Ross Stewart. If he doesn't sign a contract and if he's out of contract at the end of the season, does that mean we get diddly squat? So for me, if I was a Sunderland player, I'd sign the contract, simple as. I'd stay at the end of the season, I'd do the business, stay at the end of the season, sign the contract, get a pay rise, do the business, end of the season, I'm in the shop window, and we'll see what happens then. That's just my opinion. Speakman told supporters gathered at talks were ongoing. Talks ongoing. So basically, this idiot of probably, I would say, what do you call them? Oh, the person who's trying to sell Ross Stewart. I'm forgetting the name. It's a little He's seller. I can't think what it is. Anyway, agent. That is agent. There you go, agent. These agents, the majority of them are idiots because they're not really. They're clever because they've got a lot of money. They are clever because they're trying to make a lot of money off Ross Stewart. They're trying to say that we've got someone, you know, we've got Cristiano Ronaldo there, someone from the Premier League. We've got a Callum Wilson there, you know what I mean? I'm sorry, but yeah. And then he's trying to get as much money as possible out of Stewart. Is it for Stewart's best interest? Does he care for Stewart's best interest? That's another question. But yeah, he's trying to get as much money as possible, so he's trying to turn Ross Stewart's head, I would have thought. Ultimately, we want to tie him down, our best assets for as long as possible, and we've got a good track record of doing that. We've been having that conversation with Ross since January, they've been talking to Ross Stewart since last January about the contract. Last January, to a certain degree, which is neither unusual or dismissal to a number of our other players. These types of discussions often get portrayed as very polarising. It's either that the club won't pay the money or the player doesn't love the club, etc. Neither of those things are true. It's a negotiation, it's a process. The player isn't out of contract until the summer. There we go, so we've got to tie him down now. If we don't tie him down now and doesn't sign a contract, we get out in the summer. The player isn't out of contract to the summer, so this isn't the last window where we can recoup a fee. So there is a time. Ross is, I know, 100% motivated and committed to Sunderland, and an incredible guy who is incredibly highly thought of because of the work on the pitch. Now, I do believe Ross Stewart's heart is in the right place, and I want to believe he's a decent guy. I'm sure he's a decent guy. He gives 100% of the pitch. Stewart, sign a contract, 2-year contract, see us to the end of the season, And then, you know, what happens, what happens. But I don't like players leaving midway through seasons. It's just my opinion. I don't like that. Everyone at this stage wants Stewart to be here longer than his current contract. But it's got to be right for him. And, you know, we respect that. If a big club comes in for Stewart, you can understand his head's being turned. You know, it's not like he's being born and bred down here. You know, he's Scotland. Louis-Dreyfus said of Stewart, "We are having an ongoing conversations and will all be hopeful that it will lead to a successful outcome. Football is unpredictable. You don't know what will happen between him coming back in January and clubs might be interested in him, etc, etc. Pardon me. All we can do is A, do our very best to retain Ross. B, plan for all eventualities. That we are not in a situation we are panicking and don't know what we are doing. Plan A is to keep Ross Stewart, to secure a longer contract, but we'll be able to be prepared for all possibilities." There we go. Be prepared for all possibilities. Now, I do apologise. This is going to be a long, drawn-out video. I had planned on doing a preview tonight, but that may have to take a back step for later on in the week. The role of selling players. More broadly, the panel agreed that while they could not predict what would happen in the future windows, they did not think Sunderland would yet at this point where it makes sense to sell any players. They also agreed that ideally the club wants to ensure a succession plan is in already place before players leave, whether it is through recruitment or through promoting or from the academy. Louis-Dreyfus told fans to this effect, "You only have to look at the scouts at our games. We have big Premier League clubs coming to watch our players. We're still in that phase where we are trying to grow the squad and make it better. So we would consider selling a player if he had confidence that we could replace him with something better." The panel also stressed strongly that this model does not include selling academy players, with retaining them and showing them there's a pathway to the first team is a key part of the plan. Speakman, for example, noted that there are players who left the club before Louis-Dreyfus' arrival could have been a major part of the club's current conversation along long-term striker options. It was also stressed that selling at the right time could be important as it shows the future recruits that you will be prepared to do the same in the future. If they wish to take a new step in their career and it is right and it is the right bid there. Louis-Dreyfus added, "All of these players we are signing, these are players who want to get to the Premier League. They want to do it with Sunderland. If a club doesn't move as quick, then they will want to get to the Premier League. I understand that. They want to get the Premier League as soon as possible. They want to do it with Sunderland. But if we dawdle around for season after season after season after season, they will eventually get sick and want to go." It's a very ambitious group. And what we all hope is that they can get there with us. But if not, then we reinvest the money into build up an even stronger squad. There we go. Kyril Louis-Dreyfus. One supporter asked Louis-Dreyfus for clarity on Louis-Dreyfus' role at the club, given his involvement in previous ownerships groups. Louis-Dreyfus said, "What I would say is that since I've came in, Juan is a very busy man with lots of projects. His business, his political career, his VP at Vice President at AS Monaco. As you know, I would say that he's not hugely involved to the day-to-day business, but he has been very supportive of what we've done. We have a robust debates on everything that includes everyone on this stage. But so far, he has for me been an asset. AS Monaco is one of the most successful clubs in Europe. So having access to that kind of resource, for example, we could exchange ideas, for example, when we sign to French players, we can speak about what their reports say and all that kind of thing. End of the day, I think if that's the case, if he is, why can't we get some of their younger players coming to Sunderland on loan? Are they good enough? One has helped us. One has given us a presence in the South American market. Has he? He knows a lot of people. Has opened doors for us. We haven't utilised it regularly, but when we have one, I should start again really, shouldn't I? We haven't utilised it regularly, but when we have, one has helped, and I'm sure that we will grow in the future. Kyril's final message to the fans. Thank God for that. I'd just like to say thank you for sticking with the club through its years in League One. The club would probably not have made it, without the fans in League One. Without your continued support. The club is 95% of the reason that drives us to make it better. The support is 95% of the reason that drives us to make us a more successful club 24/7. I hope we will have more success along the way, and we'll give everyone to do that, and we'll give everything to do that. If there's anything at all of you feel we are not doing it right, we want to hear your voice. Nice one. Nice one at all. Well, there we go. So that was the meeting last night. Well, it's a long drawn out meeting, and I'm feeling a bit tired now after all the talking. A, did you understand what I was saying? B, did you understand what I was saying? And C, have you got a fucking clue what I was saying? Sorry. Anyway, but yes, did you understand what I was saying? And does any of that make sense? We all know what they're doing. We do, exactly. So they're getting them players, young players. They're growing, they're nurturing them. They're going to try and get us to the Premier League with them. And if they want to leave at some point in the future because we don't make it to the Premier League in time, they will sell them and reinvest their money. So if Ross Stewart leaves in January, they will reinvest all of the money. If Ross Stewart leaves in the season, they will reinvest all of the money. I'd reinvest a little bit of the money into having netting. We need netting to support the fans, keep the fans safe, right? I can't stop idiots throwing stuff on the pitch. But what the club can do is stop the idiots from throwing stuff on the pitch and help the fans from getting hit by fans up above and damaging their health. Now, I hope the young lad who got hit by a vape a few games ago, I hope he's perfectly fine now. I hope he was given VIP treatment at the club for a home match. He should be given VIP. Him and his family should be given VIP treatment at the club. A young supporter. That's what should be done to that young supporter. Now, Ross Stewart, please stay at the club. We want you, all the fans want you to stay at the club. We need you after the World Cup. Desperately, we need you for the home game against Millwall. He's back on the grass. We've seen him back on the grass. And apparently Sunderland are going to Dubai to do all their training while the World Cup's on. Going to Dubai. And one last thing, I want to say a big thank you and well done to Bailey Wright. So, Baileyest of the Wrights. Defender Baileyest Wright will head to the 2022 World Cup in Qatar after receiving a call up to Australia. In Australia. The 30-year-old centre-half who recently celebrated his 100th appearance for Sunderland will be part of Australia's squad to face France, Tunisia and Denmark in Group D. Well, that's a difficult group, isn't it? With 25 caps for his country and scored 2 goals, but the winter tournament will be his first ever World Cup. Well done, Baileyest Wright. Bailey Wright, Baileyest of all the rights. Black Cats head coach Tony Mowbray said to have his character around the dressing room is pretty major. He's had to play some games now. Well, he's a Sunderland player. And I do, end of the day, sorry, Tony. He's had to play some games, Tony. Okay. He should play games. He's a good bloody defender. It's fantastic for him to be going to the World Cup and we have to wish him well. Wright's call-up follows the news that Juicen Bennett will be in the Costa Rican squad. Mowbray added, it's the experience of being there, playing in the World Cup, which would be amazing. Good luck and fingers crossed to everybody. Well done, Bailey Wright, well done, Juicen Bennett. Let's end on a positive note. Well done to both of those gadgets. Hopefully we can beat Birmingham. Preview coming later on in the week. Don't know when. again, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Take care. God bless. May God go with you. Will he stay or will he go? Come on, let me know in the comments below. Will Ross Stewart stay? Do you think, hand on heart, will Ross Stewart stay? Do you think, hand on hearts, so I got two, will Kyril Louis-Dreyfus invest all the money from every player we sell, the profit we make on those players? Right, there you go. Take care. We'll see you later. And just like, sick of me by now. Bye.